Hello, Internet. Welcome back to our Cataclysm Refugee series. In the last episode, we managed to find ourselves. I don't remember. All I remember is that we found What's a Transistor, which is a book that we needed. Previously, our issue was we wanted to work on our vehicle. Excuse me. Not a great start. We want to work on our vehicle. In order to work on our vehicle, we need a welder. In order to make the welder, we need electronics 1 and or 2 and a soldering iron. We don't have a soldering iron, so we want to make a soldering iron. Well, to make a soldering iron, we needed What's a Transistor. However, What's a Transistor probably raises our skill to where we don't need to make the soldering iron, although it is a good thing to have. So let's check What's a Transistor really quickly. Have a look at this. Wrong button. We'll raise our electronics to 3. We do have the welder recipe. It's available in the Under the Hood book. And possibly in this somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember the books exactly. Oh, goodness. So why don't we... It's daylight. We've been exploring just a crap ton in this series. So I think we're going to work towards getting our welder. I do, at some point, want to go back to the Refugee Center. I do want to try to do some of these quests. Again, I don't like NPCs very much. It is kind of out of the way, but I would like to at least go there and talk to them and see what they have to offer. But for now, let's focus on raising our skill. Let's have a seat in our little armchair here. We're gonna raise. Oh, let's eat and drink some stuff. Have yourself a beer. That'll put you in a good mood. Why not? I have not had a beer in a very long time. I don't drink beer or any alcohol, really. We talk about that from time to time. I don't know why I bring it up so much. So many people I talk to are, they drink. And many of them are what I would classify as an alcoholic. So it's just one of those things where it's like every time alcohol comes up, I feel like I have to tell people, oh, I don't drink, because it's such an unusual thing to be like a non-drinker. At least where I'm from. Same with marijuana. Every time I use marijuana in the game, I feel inclined to tell you that I don't partake of marijuana. I don't partake of a lot of things. I think in the last episode we talked about Cyberpunk, and I explained that I don't really play games with very much adult content, or not even adult content, because I think saying adult content implies like sex specifically. But like I don't do a lot of stuff like that. I'm not an NSFW kind of guy. A while back when we were changing Cataclysm Discord, someone invited me to kind of an intermediate Discord, and there was an NSFW board, not safe for work, for those of you who are not, into those things. And people would just post pornography, and I was like, what a weird... Like, no judgment, those Discords exist. Obviously, people do share those things, but like, it just seems so bizarre to me to be like, hey, everybody, all my friendly people, look at this porn I was looking at. It's just so peculiar to me. No judgment, not really. You live your life however you want to live your life, but it struck me as very odd. This is a weird topic of conversation. Let's not talk about this. I shouldn't even have mentioned those things. It's a great way to get demonetized. Speaking of demonetized, my brother is blasting some music in the bathroom, and that might get me content ID matched. It just depends on how loud it is in the recording. Anyway, I got a comment today. Someone asked me, someone said, how are things with your family? Because I haven't really talked about it in a while. And they said, why don't you only talk about them when something is wrong. Why don't you talk about some positive memories that you have of your family, good things about your family? Which I've been trying to be less negative. Some of these videos get away from me, and I get real dark and miserable. So I think that's a fine idea. We're just going to pretend that I looked at my random list of questions and got the question, oh, what are some positive memories of your family? So I thought we would do that. Now, the problem is I don't have a lot. Most of my family, particularly when I was a child, most of my memories are really... negative, they involve abuse, things like that. However, squeaky table. However, that doesn't mean there aren't good memories. In fact, I do love my family. I know I don't talk about them very often in a positive way, but that does not mean I don't care about them. Even my brother, whom I talk about a lot who has done some really negative things, and we've been in kind of a bad situation for a while. I still love him, you know, I'm still concerned for his future. I still want him to be safe and healthy and mentally well, you know. It's just that I can't really influence that. You know, it's one of those things that people have to make their own decisions. We're looking for a welder, and we're going to need materials for this welder. That's what's going to hold us up now. We're going to go back to that basement where we killed the soldier zombie and take apart those arcade machines. That might give us 4 converters. There were only 2 machines, so we might get 4 converters, but we also may not get that much material. We can always take apart some of our own electronics, and because we lack the proficiencies, it's going to take a pretty long time to make this thing. My main concern is failure. We've talked about this before. I'm not super up to date on proficiencies. My issue is if we lose because of a failure, are we more likely to lose materials? Because if that is true, having 5 times the failure and 2.5 times the failure means we will lose a lot of power converters trying to make this thing. And they're not super difficult to find, but they are enough of a pain that it's going to slow us down a lot. So I'm really hoping that failure means you just mess up, but you just lose progress, but you don't actually lose materials. That is my hope. I've always disliked that Cataclysm makes you lose materials when you fail to craft. It makes sense, you know, if you're inexperienced and you fail to craft something, you might damage a component, but it always felt too common. I always felt like the loss of materials should be a much lower percentage than it is, especially with something like this electronics thing. It's not beyond comprehension that we would damage a power converter, but it is, not super likely, I would think. So let's grab, we're going to need tools. Probably a wrench for the arcade machines. I actually don't know. So we'll just take a smattering of tools. We should have a multi-tool on our person. We do. What qualities do you have? Cutting, sawing, screwdriving, bolt turning. I don't think we would need a hammer, but we're going to take one just so we don't have to make a trip back. And we're going to need some light as well, because it's in a basement. We have a lot of flashlights. Just give me one that's pretty reasonably charged. We'll take a flashlight. We're going to go back to that basement. Our knife spear is damaged. I'm not super worried about that. We've mostly cleared the area. So yes, even though I speak negatively about my brother and I have a lot of concerns and am frankly kind of afraid of him and don't really want him in my life anymore, that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that I hate him. I'm sure that there are a lot of parents out there who have kids who are, have severe mental illness or limitations or what have you. And it's not that they don't love their children. It's just that it's difficult to be around them and it's difficult to handle their issues. And I realize that I'm speaking, from a parent perspective, but sometimes it feels that way, with my brother. It feels like he is still a kid. He does have some mental limitations that lower his mental, it's a good way of saying this that won't upset anyone, because I don't know the terminology for most things. I don't know what the appropriate terminology is anymore. He has a lower mental age than he actually is physically. Does that make sense? So it does often feel almost parental. It requires prying of one or more. I mean, I guess they changed it to where it's not a hammer anymore, which makes more sense. So we'll deconstruct. I'm glad we brought the multi-tool, I guess. So there's a power converter. We should just take everything: circuit board, copper wire, nails, plastic chunks. Take the RAM. Don't really need pipe fittings or metal or anything. And we'll take apart this other machine as well. How many charges did I use from my flashlight? Not really, like 20. So that uses a charge a minute. That's pretty low. I would have thought it would be much higher. Okay, we'll deconstruct this other one. But I have positive memories of him as well, of course. We've talked about it to some extent. We did get 4 power converters. Oh, no, we didn't. Those are plastic chunks. We got 2 power converters. That is not great. So I have a lot of memories of, like, being a kid. We frequently shared a bedroom, because we were the 2 older boys. So I have a lot of memories of us playing together, kind of when we didn't have a lot of toys. We didn't have a lot of things. We just had our imagination. And yeah, I remember doing all kinds of stuff with him. Everything from playing kickball with the neighborhood kids to, I remember there was some construction going on next to our house once. Do I want an LCD screen? I don't think I do. And I remember the construction people next door were very nice. They gave us a hammer and nails and a plank and were like, go nuts, So we just spent a lot of time hammering nails into a plank. We're north, south, and southeast. It's funny, I didn't see any of you a moment ago. How far away is this cop? Pretty far. So we should be able to just go back home. I think we got 3 power converters. Oh, we have 4. That's good. So we'll go back and start the welder. If we fail and lose materials, we'll go back out and try to source some more power converters. But for now, this is fine. So, like, I remember playing, we had this mat. It was like a little town on a mat. It was like just a flat, like there were roads and buildings. And it was meant for kids, to play with their toy cars and stuff. We didn't really have toy cars. So we would just, run our fingers over it. I kind of remember we might have had 1 or 2. But mostly we would use our fingers and just pretend. And it was just, we were so young. I think I was in 2nd grade when we lived at that house. I don't know how old you are in 2nd grade. I'm going to say like 8. And then my brother's 2 years younger than me. So like I remember us, we would just run our fingers over and pretend like, oh, I'm going to stop at the stop sign. Oh, I'm going to turn right. And, I'm going to yield to traffic. Like, just goofy stuff. So we'll start the welder here. Oh wait, we can't. We don't have I didn't bring scrap metal with me. That's okay. There's some in our garage, I believe, from where we bashed up this. Oh, there's not. We have a small okay. I don't really care about the knife spear. Oh, nice catch in my throat. Feeling a little hoarse today. I don't know why. Feeling a little pony, as they say, because a pony is a little horse. Haha. Go ahead and dump the knife spear. This isn't working for me. We should have a pipe here somewhere. Nope. Okay, well, probably a pipe in the garage. Nope. Okay. Well, this is fun. Wield the stick here, stout branch. That'll do. And get your stamina back. So, like, I have a lot of memories like that. We would play kickball with the neighborhood kids. And, like, I was very defensive of him when we were kids. Give me that scrap metal. Because he was different and people did treat him differently and were not very kind to him. I have a lot of memories of defending my brother. I remember there was a kid up the street who my brother would ride his bike. Welder. We're going to need goggles as well. Which is a pain. I didn't see any PBA masks on the firefighters we killed, but we will go back and check. It's going to take 3 hours. We should go to bed. We're tired. And our focus is going to trend down. So why don't we just go to bed? We will wield our knife spear. Okay, with the stamina, please. We will wield our spear again, just in case we get awakened by some horrible monstrosity. Always go to sleep with a knife spear in your hands. Sleep in the bathroom. And this kid up the street would ram his bike into my brother's bike. And my brother, had a very serious head injury when he was a boy. So, like, he would knock him to the ground and kind of be really mean to him. And I remember just, not attacking the kid. He was an older boy and he was pretty tough. But I remember doing, like, the thing, I would have been probably, like, 14 at the time. Doing that thing where you posture, where you just try to seem as tough as you can and be like, you talk smack and try to get them to back off, that kind of stuff. So, like, I have some memories like that. And then, like, at one point my sister came to school with me and I remember a kid called her the N-word, and I remember standing up for my sister and being, really aggressive with that kid. It's like I have memories where I, went out of my way to protect my family, but for the most part, I really am not super involved with my family. I really don't. I don't interact with them very much. For many years, I was the angry, angsty teenager who, hated his family, even though they didn't really do anything wrong. Oh no, don't pull that. I already have. Why did I strain myself moving the heavy counter? Is my strength really 11? Usually I go up to 13 because it's just so powerful to have a high strength. That's fine. We have this table. Oh, I made eggs I forgot to eat. I even said when we made them that I'll probably forget to eat them. Well, we'll try to eat them before they go bad, but I suspect they are going to go bad. So, I was an angry teenager. I didn't want to be around my family. I didn't want to, I was just angry. I hated everyone. Most of my positive memories are from when I was a child. I can't believe we didn't mess up even once. And it also raised our electronics to 3. Can't believe we didn't even mess up once. And it didn't even take that long, did it? I don't think it did take 3 hours. So we have a welder. That's pretty dope. And our eggs went bad. Of course they did. Oh, what a waste of pickled herring and some eggs. In fact, how long do eggs last? If I just want to eat an unfertilized egg, how much is that? A week. Really? I feel like, I guess eggs are specifically designed to be resilient, right? Because animals lay the eggs and then they have to exist for a period of time, before they would hatch and before the embryos would develop and stuff. So I guess it makes sense that it's a pretty contained thing. And I remember being a kid and reading that if you wanted to throw rotten eggs or whatever, like kids would do on Halloween or whatever, you would poke holes in them to make sure that it rotted on the inside. So I guess as long as it's intact, it wouldn't go bad. Why don't we? We're not really hungry. Okay. So let's go check those firefighter corpses for PBA masks. And worst case scenario, we'll check corpses on our way to look for sunglasses. Sunglasses will give us tinted glass. What is that? An amoebic mold? Get out of here, cow-sized mold. I don't want you here. This is my house. Shoo. Oh, do they become blob when you kill them? I don't think they do. It melts away. Okay, good. Get out of here. All right. So where have I been stashing corpses? Not really anywhere, right? It's just sort of been wherever we kill them. I haven't made a pile or anything. Okay, no sunglasses. It is a little harder to notice them because they are going to be filthy. And it's a little harder for me when I see filthy items because I usually dismiss them immediately. I do remember we killed quite a few at this gap between the houses here, where we killed the firefighter zombies. So we'll go down there and check. We've already forgotten these tiles as well, which is a bit interesting. Here's the body. Nope. Okay. I have a lot of positive memories of my uncle. My uncle is about 13 years older than me, 12, 13 years older than me. So he's pretty young for uncle standards. My mom was 15 when she got pregnant. So pretty young. There's a PBA mask. So we don't need a welding goggles unless they changed it to where you can't use filthy things as a welding eye protection. But I don't think that they did because that's just the way that the code works. So, because you don't actually put on your welding goggles, you just need them nearby. So I don't think that that will be an issue. So we've secured a welder and we've secured a welding goggle. The main issue now is that I believe we only have one medium battery. Let's sort our loot. I have a lot of positive memories of my uncle. He was a young man. I didn't have a lot of male role models to look up to. So I, of course, looked to my uncle. In fact, give me these PBA masks back. We're actually going to put the welder and PBA mask outside so that we don't lose it in our piles of stuff. So we'll just stash this in our car seat for the time being. What's in the back? Jeans. Oh, I was picking things up. I wish I had remembered that. Pop Mechanics is not a good book. We have some books that I would have liked to have taken in and read. We also have a 30-06. I didn't realize that. and another bat. Go ahead and drop the welder and PBA mask. So tomorrow we will start working on our vehicle. Take some of those seats out of the rear, start putting storage in, things like that. And we're going to want to put a recharger in here pronto. And by pronto, I mean the first thing we should do is put a recharger in there. We should have picked up a battery charger by now, which is the intermediate battery charging system, because they're frequently in these junk drawers. Not that junk drawer. These junk drawers, I believe. In fact, there is one. So we'll take that. And we'll install that. That way we have a means of recharging that medium battery that we have, because we don't really have any other sources of energy for the charger. For the medium battery, I mean. Or the welder, I mean. Sorry, my words are difficult. So I looked up to my uncle a lot. He was very mean to me when I was a little boy. He was a teenager who, basically had a little kid following him around, which I totally get. People end up hating the kids that follow them around and look up to them. And my uncle was not a super good dude. Like, he really fried his brain with acid when he was a kid. He took LSD and stuff when he was a teenager, which has really given him long-term brain damage, basically. He has a hard time, like, even if you just talk to him on the phone, let's say, he will forget within seconds things you've talked about. And he can't really maintain his focus for very long. So, like, he has a lot of issues with attention and stuff, and just memory. But when I was a kid, I didn't know any of that, and he was mean to me, but to me, he was just like my cool uncle. He always had like sunglasses, and he was always driving around. He would take me in like different places. Like, he would take me to the carnival. He would take me, to meet with his girlfriends, who most of them lived on farms and stuff. So, like, I got to pet the animals, and like, he was just a cool uncle. But if I talk to him now, it's interesting, because I have a lot of fond memories of my uncle. Of he was one of the only positive male influences in my life. And in his mind, he's a terrible uncle. So, like, when I talk to him, he remembers stuff that he did that I don't really care about or remember. Like, he remembers, like, when I was a kid, he would have been like 18, I'd have been 5 or 6 or whatever. And he would put me in our garbage can outside. And he feels terrible about this now. Like, he feels like, I used to put you in a garbage can. I remember there were maggots in there, and you used to scream and fight, and I would do it anyway. And I was like, okay, like, that is not a nice thing to do to a kid, of course, but, I don't really remember that. I still love you, it's something that's way in the past. And he was mean. Like, I remember he would chase me around, and, like, he would put grass in my mouth and stuff when I was little and he was a teen. And, like, don't get me wrong, it's stuff that a teenager shouldn't do to a little boy, but, like, I didn't think of it as malicious. I thought of it as a game. He would chase me around. I got to run around with my uncle, and when I would think about him, I would think about us playing basketball in the backyard, or, him taking me to the carnival, giving me money when no one in my life ever gave me money, because no one had money, and I remember playing games with him at the carnival, and we would play Sega together and stuff like that. So, like, all my memories of my uncle, I have very positive memories that make me, like my uncle a lot. I still view my uncle as a really fun dude, but in his mind, he's super focused on the negativity of, like, he used to torment me, which I think is understandable for him to think that, but, like, I don't care, like, I love him, and in his mind, it's this huge thing that it must have had such a terrible impact on him, and it's like, no, I just remember you as the fun uncle, I remember you doing Krusty the Clown voices and taking us places, and, showing me how a car worked and stuff like that. So, like, all my memories are pretty positive. But for him, he's really bothered by the things that he did, which I totally understand. Like I said, and I'm someone who has a relatively dark past. I understand what it's like to have people around you saying, "Oh, you're doing well," or, "I care about you," or whatever, and all you can think about is all the bad stuff you've done. Totally understand that. And it's a bummer. And like I said, he has a lot of mental issues now, but he also has three kids. Three kids to two different women, both of whom are his ex-wives at this point. I have positive memories of them as well. My cousins, my uncle's kids, one of them is like, the oldest is probably 20, I would think. So there's about the same age gap as between me and my uncle. And I only remember them as kids. I haven't been around them in a long time. So last time I saw them, his son was probably like 13. His daughter was probably like 8 or 9. And then his youngest daughter was literally a baby. And now the baby is like 11. So it's been a long time since I've been around them. I saw them at the family reunion last year, or I saw the youngest girl. I haven't seen my oldest male cousin in a long time. Everyone in the family says he reminds them of me. Like he's really into gaming. He's kind of nerdy. He kind of has the same hairstyle I did for a long time. People always tell me that they think of him as me, just younger. But I haven't been around the kid, which is a shame. I would like to see him again because I think that I could probably help him. Like, he lives with his grandparents because his family life was not good. My uncle is not intentionally neglectful, but because of his limitations and mental health stuff, he struggles to be a good dad. So they were latchkey kids. They don't really feel like they have a dad, that sort of stuff. I want to kill this zombie cop for possibly ammunition or another handgun. So we're going to pop down here. And yeah, and then they told me he was working for a while, but he hates working. Like, he's miserable when he works, which is something that I'm also pretty experienced with. And he basically saved up his money and then bought a gaming computer. And now all he does is spend his time sitting in his grandparents' house playing video games. And that reminds me a lot of young me. And we can delete this note now, by the way. And I would like to reach out to him just to see, if there's any way I could be of assistance. I know how hard it is to be a young man and not really know what to do with yourself. And yeah, I think about him sometimes and just wonder, I don't want to be here. This was the parking garage. I was thinking we haven't been down there yet, but we have. And there were quite a lot of enemies there. You are fought. You did see me all the way down there? The runner's probably going to come up as well. I would like to go in that house and look around some, so this is fine. And then I thought too, like, I've been doing YouTube and streaming and stuff, and I thought, like, why doesn't he try that? Like, I don't know what kind of person he is, but maybe he could make it work. A lot of young people aspire to be a YouTuber or content creator. And I don't know. I've been thinking about him a lot lately. I kind of want to reach out to him, but it just feels so awkward because I haven't really seen him since he was like 12 or 13. It just seems so strange I don't feel like I'm part of the family, And I have like positive memories of him, but like it's probably the same thing as with my uncle, right? He was a kid at the time. I don't think he is going to remember it the same way I do. So I remember, he seemed like he was very interested in me. Like, he was very, like I made him, like the same way I felt about my uncle, like excited because this is a cool person that I kind of want to be like this person, that sort of thing. But like, I don't know if I talk to him now, it's been so long, he probably doesn't remember it the same way. It's probably some weird, like, I was a big, scary older boy that didn't talk to him, like, I don't know. I have this memory. I don't know why it just came to me. I remember when he was first born, I was probably, I don't know how old I was, but I was old enough that I was like in my angsty teen years. So like this is the hardware store. I went to, oh, hello, tough zombie. Don't bite me. That is extremely rude. We went to my uncle's house and he had 2 kids at the time, I believe. One was a baby and one was the younger, my older male cousin, but he was quite young. And I remember we were leaving and everyone was kissing my younger male cousin on the cheek to say goodbye, and they were like, go give him a kiss. And I was like, no. Like I don't like just no. I don't know why I said no. You know, he was like a toddler at the time. You know, it just is such an innocuous thing. But I was like, no, I don't really want to. I don't kiss people. I don't, you know, I don't even know this kid. I don't want to be, you know, it's just weird. And he started crying and was so like he was like a toddler and he got so angry that I refused to give him a kiss on the cheek goodbye. I don't know, such an odd, peculiar memory. And then the only other time I can think of seeing him, you know, in a long time was like when my at my great grandmother's funeral, which is like, you know, it's a hard time to form positive memories when you're mourning the loss of someone that, you know, you've known your entire life and stuff. And these haven't been around that side of the family very much. I don't even see my uncle that much, let alone, you know, his kids. And they're all like adults now. It's been, you know, ages. And they're all like completely different people. Like, you know how it is when you're a kid, you're not the same person as you are when you get to be an adult. I'm not the same by any at all the same. I deal with some of the same stuff like my depression, but my personality is completely different. And so I don't know. It just feels so weird to family is weird. I don't know how to feel about family. I don't know what to think about family. I don't know how to be an active member of my family. I just feel so different. I feel so out of place. I feel like I don't belong. It makes it really hard. This was supposed to be positive memories. My goodness. Okay. We're at 32 minutes. We should just call the episode. Sorry, again, things got away from me. It's really hard. I think that people, you know, yes, do you have positive memories? Of course I do. But they're also tainted by like negative things. So like I have positive memories of my uncle, but if I start talking about my uncle, I have to bring up his, you know, mental health stuff. I have to bring up, you know, the negative aspects because it so directly informs our relationship, you know, and shapes the way that we interact with each other that it has to be mentioned to explain why we are the way we are. And so even when I'm thinking about positive things, I have negative thoughts attached to that as well. So it just becomes very difficult to remain completely positive about something like that. I also noticed we didn't really accomplish very much in this episode because I was talking a bit too much. I found myself standing around some. For now, though, that's the end of this episode. We should start working on our vehicle in the next episode. I'll try to remember to make that a priority. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.